If you've been wanting to build your own planters, then this video is for you. Planters can be quite expensive, so I'm going to be using these old decking boards to make mine. I needed to replace my old deck because it was too small for my hot tub, and it left me with all of these extra boards. I'm hoping that I'll be able to make at least 3 planters out of these. Something else that's important for me in this build is that they are off the floor. My previous planters have been on the floor, and it means I have to kneel down to be able to plant anything. I have these lengths of wood left over from when I built my pergola. They are 45 x 70 millimeters. Because I don't want to buy anything new, I'm going to measure the shortest piece and cut the other 3 legs the same length. The great thing about using this wood is that it's actually been treated for outdoor use. As you can see on the label, it says that it is treated and kiln dried. This just means that it's going to be able to last a little bit longer for this job. And what I just showed you was a planter made last year. Still going strong. You can use other types of wood if you're just trying to make the best use of what you've got. It will just mean that it doesn't last quite as long. And you can take some steps to try and treat it with something like boiled linseed oil. Here I'm just starting out by cutting the wood down so it's all the same length, using this set square. Cutting down wood with a circular saw is best done on a table where you can clamp down the wood. And here I've rested a piece of wood on the floor and using my foot as an anchor to be able to cut through. I wouldn't say this was best practice, but just wanted to explain what it was that I was doing. And of course, halfway through, the battery ran out. Isn't that always the way? A quick charge and we're back on the job. Next up, I cut down all of these boards to the length that I wanted the planter to be. I was basing this on the size of the planter that I previously created, but you can make this whatever you want. A really good way to work out how long yours should be is to measure the length of the wood that you have and divide it by 3. That way you're making use of every inch of the wood. This is boiled linseed oil and it's a really good option for finishing bare wood. It can be used internally or externally and it's normally fairly inexpensive. It creates a protective barrier against moisture and it means your wood is not going to rot as fast. It can also really enhance the grain and the look of the wood, so it's just such a good thing to pick up. You can use this in so many different applications. And I promise you, this isn't some sort of weird ad for boiled linseed oil, I'm just a huge fan. I'm using an old cloth to rub it into all parts of the wood, giving special attention to the ends that have been cut and have completely raw wood. And just a little tip for after you've finished applying your boiled linseed oil, this is a compound that can self-combust as it dries. So don't leave your rag in your workshop on a wooden worktop. Leave it outside, perhaps on a paving stone or on a metal surface, until it has dried fully. I'm starting with the ends and I'm just laying my 3 pieces of decking onto these legs, and I want to make sure that they are equal distance apart and that I am attaching them at a 90-degree angle. Here I'm just measuring the distance from the bottom, making sure that it is equal on either side. Keep some space in between each of the boards as this will allow for expansion of the wood. I'm going to utilise these screws that I had left over from my decking project. I really like the head of these screws, which are star-shaped or Torx, because they grip so much easier and it really makes it easier to screw them in. I'm also going to do some pilot holes, which will definitely help these screws go in a little bit easier and stop the wood from splitting. Now here I'm just drilling these in sort of the same distance from the top as from the bottom. Turns out it's very tricky to do a two-handed job with just one hand. Once I'd finished the pilot holes, I simply changed the bit and screwed in some of these screws. I'm using an impact driver drill for this, but this would actually be better done with a combi drill where you can reduce the torque and then the drill stops before the screw goes in too deep. It gives you a bit more control. I want them to be secure, but not so deep that there's no possibility of me taking them out in the future. This is how deep I have secured them. As I go along, I keep checking that the boards are in the correct position and that they're still at a 90-degree angle. And there we have it, that first end is done. And now all I need to do is create exactly the same the other side. And it's just like Art Attack from when I was younger, because here's one that I made earlier. I'm now going to use both of these ends as kind of stilts to be able to secure the longer sides. To get started, I'm just resting everything in place so that it's roughly where it needs to be. For these, you want to overlap the boards over the end of the legs so that it is matching with the piece going the other direction. And when I come to screw in the screws, I'm not going to do it on the end, I'm actually going to do it a little bit further in so that it screws into the leg rather than into the other board, which will be a lot less secure. Again, I'm screwing into the gap with this second ridges so that I can screw the screws an equal distance apart. I started off by screwing in just the top screw because this will give it some stability. So that first screw can also be used as a kind of pivot to make sure that everything is 90 degrees. And do you think it was 90 degrees when I measured it? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was all kinds of wonky. So I'm just going to use this to tap it back into the position it should be before screwing in that second screw on the top board. And like when I was doing the end pieces, I do periodically just go and double check that everything is lined up whilst I'm screwing things in. I did find a small hiccup whilst I was trying to do this, which is that these boards that I took from my old deck, I bought some of them at a slightly different time, and therefore they're actually just ever so slightly wider, which made keeping an equal distance in between each of them a little bit trickier than I'd planned for. But it's okay, because I don't need this to be perfect. The whole point is that I'm reusing old boards. It is going to look a little bit skew-whiff in places, and that's okay. I'm just lining it up the best that I can, making sure to keep some space in between the boards for the expansion that I mentioned earlier. Wood does expand and contract, and it does that with the heat of the sun and also with additional rains. If it's raining quite a lot, the wood is likely to swell more. As before, I did pilot holes into all of these areas before screwing in the screws. You will find that if you are screwing quite close to the edge of a piece of wood, there is a very high chance of the wood splitting, which will just make it a lot less secure and more likely to have water ingress. And every time I inserted a screw, I just added a dab of boiled linseed oil to stop any additional water ingress going into these new holes that I've made. All that's left to do is to finish off the other side and then to fit something in the base so that the soil doesn't all fall through. What I really like about having planters like this is that you can actually take these with you when you move, especially once you've taken the soil out. They're not actually that heavy. For the base, you'll want to use a couple of strips of wood, one to go either side. The bits that I'm using are particularly large, but that's simply because I'm trying to use what I've got left over. These are from a fencing project that I did. I secured them from the outside in using the decking screws. The purpose of the 2 strips of wood on the base are to act as a support for the bits of wood that need to go across the middle. These will be used to support the soil. You don't need something that goes across the entire base, and in fact, you wouldn't want that because you need to have some space for the water to drip through. Otherwise, it's just going to get waterlogged. These are some slightly more scruffy pieces of wood from my decking project, and I've kept them for this part because I don't mind what they look like inside. The next step is to pad out the planter with some plastic sheeting, but you don't necessarily need to go out and buy something new. These are some old soil bags that I've kept, and I have ripped down one side. You just need something that's thick enough. Black bags that you use for your rubbish will probably not be thick enough. For this, you could also use something like landscaping fabric. So far, this project has cost me a total of £0 and 0 pence, so I'm feeling pretty chuffed about that. Here I'm just using a staple gun to staple down the very edges. The benefits of doing this is that the soil doesn't fall through the bottom. It also means it gives greater longevity to the wood because the soil isn't going to be butted right up against it. I added the staples at about 5cm intervals. I have to say there can sometimes be a bit of a technique with this staple gun. I have been known to fling staples across the room before. Since my plastic isn't one continuous piece, I'm just adding some tape to keep these bits together. This is actually some waterproof decking tape that I had lying around, again trying to use what I already have. And there you have the basics of putting your planter together. The final step will be to add some holes in the bottom so there's somewhere for the water to drain. But I'm not quite done yet because I also have some tips for you about how best to fill out your planter so you're not having to buy just compost to fill it up, which would be quite expensive. A great first layer is to add in some sticks and twigs. These will rot and compost over time and your soil level will go down, and at that point you can add some more compost to the top. I've also added some cardboard as my next level, and then finally I'm going to add in some soil and then some compost on the top. This planter took me about an hour to put together, and with the best comparisons I've been able to do online, I think I saved myself about £150 per planter. I really would love your thoughts on this project. Was it easy to follow? Are you going to build a planter in your garden? And if you value this channel as an educational resource, why not share it with a friend, like the video and subscribe so you see more of them in your feed.